Hello there, and welcome to another Starfield video. So today we got another unique ship. This is the Clinic Med Response Vessel. It's based on the Responder, and it's a ship that I'm not sure if you can actually. Well, I doubt you can get it in game. It may be possible. I don't even think I've seen it in game, but realistically, if it was going to be somewhere, it would be chilling around the clinic. So this is basically meant to be a kind of a space ambulance, which I didn't realize the first time I flew the responder, that it was kind of meant to be a space ambulance. I thought it was because I seen a lot of Freestar, like it's used by a lot of Freestar NPCs, so I thought it was kind of meant to be like like a responder, like like a kind of a scout ship. But yeah. So let me know if you guys have seen this in action. Like I said, I spawned this in the console. I've been kind of going through some of the ships that are in the files where I've spotted them, and I'm like, that's interesting. I don't think I've seen it. Now, obviously, like with a lot of things, it's just maybe a case of I've not spotted it. It may be in the game. But yeah, let's take a look at it anyway, shall we? So if you look at the stats, it's got a fuel of 350, which is pretty decent for an A-class vessel. It's got a hull of 430, which is not the best. It's not the worst, though. Got a cargo capacity of 410, which I believe is just purely the cockpit. Yeah, there's a bit of storage on the back. Okay. It's got a A-class reactor with 16 power. It's got a crew of 3, which is kind of interesting. This is something I kind of... I haven't really touched on it too much, but the way the crew system works in this game is a bit strange. So well, it's not strange, I suppose. It's very convoluted. Like the way it seems to work is it takes so there's various ways you can increase your crew: weapons, modules, and habitats. So like pilots or cockpit and stuff. And it basically takes all of those things and kind of puts them together. But it's weird because I'm pretty sure this cockpit gives a crew of 5, so it should be a crew of 5, but I don't know if it's because it's like an A-class. Like I said, I'm not 100%. I haven't really done much of a deep dive in. But anyway, it's got a jump rate to 15 light years, shields of 340, and then it's got 2 weapons, a single particle weapon and an EM weapon. So all in all, it's pretty average. It's your standard NPC kind of vessel. Now, one of the things I will say is I really like how this vessel looks. I think this is probably one of the nicer vanilla ships in the game. It's a nice mix of Deimos and Tayo and Stroud Eklund, which it's interesting because it's clearly meant to be an amalgamation of various different things, and it kind of it highlights the fact that So, obviously we have, we have our pre-built ships. We have our specifically Deimos vessels, specifically, that's not the right word. We have vessels that are only Deimos. We have vessels that are only consisting of New Galactic pieces, vessels that only consist of Tayo pieces, and vessels that only consist of Stroud pieces. And then with ships like these that are an amalgamation, the game doesn't really explain much in the line of the lore behind any of the ships, but when it comes to these ships that are made by multiple different multiple manufacturers, it makes you kind of wonder what's the reasoning behind that, we know that our player can customize and build ships to all whatever standard, and it's obvious other player or other NPCs could too, but there's no real in-lore reasoning behind that. We know that, you can go to Stroud Eklund and they'll sell you ships, or you can go to Hope Tech and they'll sell you ships. But there's no, dialogue options specifically around them. Be we'll also retrofit your ship with the latest, Hope Tech technology. Which, again, would be kind of nice just to kind of help with the lore point of view of, how these ships have come to be. Obviously, in real life, manufacturers have worked together to create things, but I don't really see all 3 manufacturers coming together to make a space ambulance that the Freestar Collective would use. But anyway, so the price to if you're going to build it, it's probably going to be around That price is very low. I don't think we'll say it 100K. Realistically, I don't think it's that. It's definitely not that cheap, even with perks. So yeah, let's go check it out, shall we? Like I said, I really like how this ship looks. It's like one of the few ships in the game that I think like its lines look really like they work really well together. We've got a nice mix of, it's not a lot of structural pieces in it, but you know, still. And then we've got the Tayo entryway. Like, the only thing about this ship, like I said, I'm not sure if it exists in game. It would be extremely cool if it was a ship you could unlock, like you could do missions, or you could do missions where you basically like transport stuff. Like imagine transporting passengers to and from the clinic. So at the bottom there we have the just a standard 1x1, another standard 1x1 with the docking board up on top. We have the infirmary, which makes sense because this is a space ambulance. So if you're transporting some people who have been wounded by some hostile dodos that may or may not be called Dorothy. Anyway, and then we have in here the control station. So this is or the captain's quarter, or the captain's quarter is the cockpit. Like I was saying, like this can house a lot of crew. Got your pilot here, co-pilot, navigator, and then you've got your two other occupants. I normally are like weapons officer 1 and 2, but it from a lore point of view, I don't know why a space ambulance would need to necessarily have this much crew. Considering how small it is, I know that usually ambulances will have like a crew of 2, maybe more. Over here they usually have a crew of 2. You got like obviously one of them is like meant to be a driver, and one of them is meant to be more of a kind of a medic or a paramedic. But I think they both have the... But now, obviously, space is slightly different. We have how many? We have enough for 2 wounded here. So, realistically, a crew of 3. You know, if you're going to have, like, 1 medic per wounded person, and then if someone flying. But anyway, let's take it up in space. I do really like these themed builds that Bethesda has done. Like, you know, space ambulance, sort of... It's really cool. Same with like the kind of the cargo ships and stuff. Like it's something that's like general. Like it's there because Bethesda are trying to like it's meant to be like a set piece, you know. Kind of from a lore point of view, it makes sense having these sort of, you know, these transports for medical personnel. But I don't know. I kind of wish we'd see more of it. Like obviously the thing with like this game is, they can only show you so much, you know. Like I'm assuming New Atlantis probably has like it has a, you know, like a hospital and stuff, but we don't ever see any like people being rushed in because, you know, that's not really the whole point. But anyway, as always, I have perks to increase my power by 5. So for the sake of this review, we're gonna be removing that. Now we have just enough power for everything, which isn't too bad. So weapon wise, we've got a single particle and a single EM. Not too bad. Base speed is going to be 150. Makes sense. It's only got 2 engines. Those bottom things that look like engines, they're just landing here, but they function as engines. Boost speed is probably going to be somewhere around... Okay, boost speed is going to be... No. Okay, like 420. What is going on here? Quick little agility test. Okay, it's quite agile. I'd say it's like a 7 or an 8. I'm wondering why the boost was so low. Alright, so let's head down to the planet and let's check it out, shall we? Alright, so we got the ship split into 3 sections. The top here we've got a Deimos Spine A fort, Deimos Cowling fort. We've got a Tokamak X050 reactor from Xi'an, A-class, 16 power, 340 hull. To the left and right, we've got 2 Titan 350 helium-3 tanks from Nautilus, 75 hull each, or fuel each. Behind that, we have the 110 TP Docker top from Deimos. Then each side of that, we've got another pair of fuel tanks. We've got 2 M30 Ulysses helium-3 tanks from Dogstar, 100 each. The back here, we have a Deimos hull piece with 2 Relodyne White Dwarf 1000 engines. A-Class, 3 power, 4650 engine thrust, 2445 maneuvering. So with the current configuration of them, it brings our mobility to 84, which isn't too bad. Middle of the vessel, where all the kind of the good stuff is, we've got a Viking CP100 cockpit from Stroud Eklund, 200 cargo, 5 hull, 4 crew station. Underneath, we've got a single EMP-80 suppressor from Ballistic Solutions Incorporated, A-Class, 1040 range, 1.5 fire rate, 36 hull damage, 24 electromagnetic damage, which that's pretty decent hull damage, if I'm going to be honest with you. And 4 power. And then we have another Disruptor 3300 electron beam from Horizon Defense, A-Class, 4550 range, 3.49 fire rate, 12 hull and shield damage, and 3 power. Now, to the left and right of the Viking cockpit, we've got 2 Deimos bumpers, a starboard and port 4. Then we have our Stroud Infirmary 2x1, and each side we have 2 of these Deimos Wing Bs, 2 starboard, 2 port. We have a Stroud Companionway 1x1, a Deflector SG shield generator on the starboard side. Yep, that's starboard. It took me a minute. From Sexton Shield System, A-Class, 3 power, 340 shield health. Opposite side, we've got a Deimos Wing C. And then at the back, we have an NG-160 grav drive from Nova Galactic, A-Class, 8 power, 13 jump thrust, which gives us 15 light years. On the bottom of the vessel, we have a Pinpoint 4G landing gear from Tayo, which gives us 2 thrust. Then we have a Ship Bed 200 landing bay from Tayo. We have 2 Pinpoint 3G landing gear from Tayo again. These are slightly different ones though. There you have 1 thrust each. And then behind them we've got 2 more, but they're in the back configuration. And then we have a Stroud storeroom 1x1. And then we have a 100 cm ballast cargo hold from Sexton Shield Systems. It's 210. So all in all, it's a pretty cool vessel. Like I said, I really like these kind of theme build. I'd love to see like the more expanded, and I'm assuming like one of the things like modders tend to do when the game's when it does get around to getting mods, is they'll add a lot more kind of ships for like role play purposes, you know, like just to kind of fill out the universe. Like I haven't seen much of this ship personally. I'm assuming it kind of chills in the clinic, but it'd be kind of cool. Like imagine if there was, let's say, imagine there was a random encounter where you could come across these ships and be like, hey, you know, we're carrying a passenger and we're not going to make it to the station. Do you have any like meds on you or any things? You know, just another, you know, thing. Just to kind of make it like that there's like, you're in a living universe or a living game, which, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Interested to know what you guys think, because like I said, I really like this ship, and I'm just wondering, like, is there any other, like when it comes to like kind of the ships that are made for a specific purpose, like either the kind of the cargo ships or the combat ships or these sort of ships, like is there anyone that kind of stands out in your eyes, or you're like, that I really love how that looks and how it fits into its intended role? But yeah, as always guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this sort of content, and check out my other videos. Bye bye.